needs to feed, we'll be feeding that corner, so stand off the nice enclosure. As you can see, the pandas know exactly where to sit, as that's where they normally do sit all the time. Just going to shut that next box door. Right, so if you want to come up here, obviously you don't have to climb. This one is the female, this one is the male. The female has a lighter forehead, so she'll only take care, and the male will take absolute care. I'll move out the way so you don't get me in the pictures. Because obviously I'll mask the pandas out the way. The female's the one you can stroke. Sometimes she might come down, she might go through the bushes and come round. And they might sniffle and snuffle a bit because they get all the powder up their nose. So I'll stand back a bit so you can get the pictures. Hands in it. If the male comes up close, all he'll do is he'll walk away, just because he's not used to being stroked. The female's been here for 9 years, and the male's only been here for nearly 2 now. So he just haven't been used to the contact, as I said earlier, where the female come from Whipsnade and now has been here for 9 years, and she'll be 11 next month. So she's getting on a bit. She's over middle age now, so she has only 1 year left in her to actually breed. Sadly, even though she's been here 9 years, she's never had a litter. We've had a variety of different males in with her, but sadly, she's never actually had the opportunity, or actually even given birth. Maybe she's just slightly fussy when it comes to things like that. She might do. She might think about it, but she realises if you can reach, she might just say, I'm not going to wait. Right. She won't jump. Yeah. No, what it is just they don't jump. They don't have the real ability to spring, because their legs are more set, flat for climbing. So they'll just walk round and then come round. They won't really jump down. She's loved it, yeah.
I thought it was more like a cat.
Now, as I said, the female, she's called Roz. She'll be 11 next year, and she hasn't had no youngsters. We've got the male, which is called Tijman. He's 8 in about 7 days. It's the powder and stuff. If they try and swallow it too quickly. Now, he'll be 8 in about 7 days. He's a perfect viable male. The only problem he has is if you see him walking, on his back legs he has a deformity in his back legs. This could either be due to birth, or it could have just been an injury from birth. Another individual in the group could have bit him, or mum could have picked him up or dropped him, or he could have fallen out of a tree. The zoo doesn't actually know what happened, which is quite a shame really, because it could have been altered and it could have been sorted out, but they didn't really know what happened. So we've just sort of taken it was a birth defect instead of an injury. Because if it's an injury, it's quite a severe one. Because if just picture your leg, our legs are sort of like an L shape, with the foot nice and flat on the floor. His foot's actually been turned around to like a J position. His ankle has almost been twisted or broken and falls in the other direction. So, and he'll walk on the back of his feet. There's no sores or the baldness on the tail. So normally, if you walk, you'll get people if they bite their fingernails, you'll see it, and it'll be quite worn down. But if an animal walks on a certain part of their area, you'll get a hardening, or you'll get a loss of hair. He doesn't have either, so he actually lifts his back legs off the floor as he walks, or he'll hobble. So it's actually hinder him in a way of climbing, but he just has an extra strength in his forearms to help him be able to climb or manoeuvre around. So he doesn't really have much of a problem when it comes to that. But it is a sad thing that it can't be altered. It could be altered now, but there is a major problem with anaesthetising red pandas. They can actually almost have an instant heart attack. So when they do have to do any veterinary treatments on the red pandas, they have to slowly anaesthetise them, and they have to keep bringing them around, so every 5 or so minutes. So it's like constantly in and out of consciousness. then it doesn't have much of an effect on it, or it's like a local anaesthetic they use sometimes when they do certain things, so they're still awake, so they're not having an effect on it. That's why they can't really give you a definitive answer of how many red pandas there are in the wild, because they can't dart them, and they can't count them, they can't track them, they can't put a radio collar on them. Unless there's one injured, then they'll catch it, and as they're catching it, they'll restrain it, then put a radio collar on it. But you can kill an animal to produce stress. So the panda species is almost causing itself decline anyway. It's changed its dietary needs to only eating bamboo, which is very low in energy and very low in nutrients. And I'll come back to that when we feed the bamboo. They will eat soft fruits and vegetables, but they would rather eat the bamboo because there's just so much of it. Then also they will eat meat, but again it takes energy that they don't have when they eat the bamboo to catch their food. So they just, if it's there, they'll eat it, but they don't really tend to eat much of it. So the pandas in captivity, the female will eat day-old chick, defrosted and given to her, but the male, he'll sometimes take mice, but not on a rare occasion. We don't give it to them that often, so when we do give it to them, we're hoping they do eat it, but again, they knock it off. Now, the fruits and vegetables we're giving now, it has more energy in it, so that's why we want them to eat that, so they've got a good, healthy, balanced diet. Because in captivity, their diet's almost reverted the other way. Their fruits and vegetables is more, because you can't always grow enough bamboo to feed it to them. So every time in the summer, we get a load of people saying, I've got that growing in my garden. Okay, cut it down and give it to me. I'll use it. But we have loads of it growing on site, but we have to make sure that we've got it a good sustainability of it. She'll only eat the pear. If there's none left, you've got to show her the bowl, and she won't take it. She's that fussy. I would say typical fussy female, but the male's quite fussy when it comes to that. So, no, the male's quite fussy when it comes to food as well. So it is a bit of a shame when it comes to how fussy they are when it comes to food. And also they're very fussy when it comes to giving them any sort of playtime items or toys or activities to do, because they won't do it either. They'd rather just sit there or sleep or come out to eat something. So we'll try and do their activities around food. Like your dog, you can put loads of treats in a football with a hole in it. As it rolls around, the treats come out the hole and the dog's got something to play with. You get it to a panda, it'll look at it. And almost like it'll be sort of funny, but they don't. Because they don't understand. They just really don't understand what to do, or they just won't really. They just be such a lazy creature. They won't play with it at all. They'd rather just leave it and go hungry. Because they know we'll put the bamboo in later, or they'll be fed later. So they'll just starve themselves for later on. And also we can't starve them the whole day. It's not very nice. So, and also they do need nutrients in their stomach, because they can get very lethargic very quickly. More than they are anyway. The vegetables that we do give them, they won't eat them straight away. What they'll do is we'll give it to them and they'll eat it at night time, because we do find out they do eat it because it actually goes through them. We see it in obviously in their waste products, so we do know they're actually eating it. Some of the pellets, as I said, the local birds eat, as you can see them flying all over the place, so we do have the best well-fed birds in captivity, even though they're wild birds. So they'll have pellets that are designed for animals that have come from exotic locations. The bigger, thicker pellets in there is called Zoo-A, or Zoo-Diet A. That's an omnivore pellet that can be fed to any omnivore animal. So it has such a broad spectrum of minerals and vitamins, you've got to be quite careful. You can even feed that to tortoises. Then the other smaller one is leaf eater pellet, so any leaf eater animals can eat that. And that has 23% meat, like protein, like leafy protein instead of meat proteins, where the other Zoo-A has meat proteins in it, about 40%. So it's kind of like a cat biscuit.